I'm about to go to Qdoba, have some lunch/dinner, and something has been on my mind lately. The past couple days, well, it's not really on my mind, but something I thought about a couple days ago, and I was just thinking, it's one of those thoughts that just comes from multiple angles. And I was thinking about how elections, especially in election cycles in America, they seem to be going faster and faster every time. And the next election, there's a big milestone. There's a couple different things happening. The next election, the next election cycle is a big stepping stone, a big something, I don't want to say it right now, but it's one of those election cycles where a lot of things culminate on that well, I might as well say it. I mean, there's no point in beating around the bush, because there's nothing bad about it. So the next election cycle, I have to renew my driver's license. It's 2020. So my driver's license needs to be renewed. So I have to go to South Dakota to do that. My son turns 18. So by then, my daughter will already be 18, and my son turns 18 the day before November, the day before we vote, which is I think November 8th. So November 10th. So my son turns 18 a day before. And also my child support that I have to pay will also end on that day. So I was thinking of these stepping stones, these milestones every 4 years, and it's just going to happen that in 4 years from this past election, from past November, it's a lot of things are happening. So I got to think where I was 4 years ago. And 4 years ago was what? 2012, right? No. 4 years ago was, I didn't calculate this far. We are in 2017. So 2013. All right, so but if we go back a little more than 4 years, so in a little more than 4 years, in 2012, I was being devastated again, because I went from having a house, having a family, to all of a sudden not have anything. And that wasn't easy. And then I was thinking, well, 4 years before that, about 4 or 5 years before that, in 2008, so that was an election cycle, I was, right, to 2008, yeah, 2008 was the election. So 2008, I had just gotten back together with my ex-wife. We had been separated before that, and we just got back together, and then, so November was the election, and I was working on a pipeline in New York State, upstate New York, and then 2009, at the beginning of 2009, I bought my house. So that was a big stepping stone, a big milestone right there. And then I was thinking 4 years prior to 2008, 2004, in June of 2004, I remember it because I had just bought a brand new TV, not those white screens, because those were not prevalent yet, But I had just bought like a 32-inch wide TV, one of those, like, they're like 20 feet deep, you know, one of those, the old type of TV. So I had just bought one of those, and it was huge, and it would took 2 people to pick that thing up because it was so heavy and an Oakworth for one person to lift. And I was all set to watch the European Cup and football, soccer. And my ex-wife decided to ruin my life back then. And from that point to 2008, we were separated for about 4 years. I waited for 4 years. I waited for her to make up her mind, to decide what she wanted to do. And those were 4 long years that I lived with my parents, and I was trying to see what she wanted to do, and it was hard. So in 4 year increments, something always changes. And I didn't know where I was going to be today. You know, 4 years ago, I had no idea that today I would be where I am. So none of us, this whole thing is about, none of us know what the future brings. We could be alive today, we could be dead tomorrow, we could be dead a minute from now. So it's in one way, it's important to know where you're going. It's important to know your future. If you don't know where you're going when you die, I think you should take a long look at that and make sure that you're going to the right place. Another thing is that if we live long enough, we never know where we're going to be. I didn't know just a couple of years ago. I didn't know I was going to meet the people I ended up meeting through my channel. And some special people I've met. And so I didn't know that. I didn't know. You never know what the future is going to bring. Today you're doing one thing. Today everything is fine. Tomorrow everything could be bad. Everything could be turned upside down. The world, life, nothing is guaranteed. So about 5 years ago, 2012, before on June 10th, I had no idea that my life was going to be thrown upside down. And then on June 11th, I realized that, you know, here we go again, and I just rolled with it. And then a couple of years later, my parents said that, hey, well, actually, they told me right away in 2012. They told me that they were about to. My dad was retiring, and they were moving away. So I had to find something. I had to find a place to live, and I told them, you know, don't worry about me. You do whatever you need to do. I'll be fine. And then I started looking. One thing brought me to another, and I ended up buying a van. I just knew I can do that. I can live in a van. Doesn't matter. And if I couldn't have bought my van, I would have lived in my car. I don't need much to be happy. I mean, the bigger the place, the more comfort you have, the more comfortable you are. But the size of a place where you live is irrelevant. Because you could have a mansion and be unhappy, and you can have a little car that you live in, and you could be completely happy with that. And I would have been completely happy with that. So life changes, election cycles, or whatever else you want to call it. It's always changing. The people that you know today, you may not be friends with a year from now. And people that you never even thought you would meet, you never even thought you'd be friends with, you end up meeting, and you end up being friends with. So when one door closes in your life for something, either a relationship or a home that you have, then another door opens, and you move on. So life is full of surprises, and things happen. But when you have a whole bunch of lemons, you can always make lemonade, and that's what I ended up doing. I got separated. Even after that, I waited. I still thought there would be a chance. I would have been crazy to do that, because this was the 4th time that my ex did this to me, and I've never said anything in full detail of what happened. I'm not going to say it here either, but maybe in the future I'll mention a little bit more of what led to my separation. But it's something that I didn't ask for. I tried to be there and fix things, but the only issue is with my kids. That's I think my relationship that I used to have with my kids has not been the same since all these things happened. But life moves on, and new people come into your life. You know, people that you care for end up disappearing, and people that you didn't know existed end up being your best friends. So things happen, life changes, just hang in there. Be gracious to me, O Lord, for to you I cry all day long. Make glad the soul of your servant, for to you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. For you, Lord, are good and ready to forgive, and abundant in loving kindness to all who call upon you. Psalm 86, 3, 5.